This is Judge Joe Brown, and you're watching We All Be News TV, the
News-free Dixie.
News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Well, We All Be is under help on once again, Brother GavIN Richard, part of our very popular now Louisiana Hot Sauce 411 commentary. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine, brother. I'm doing all right. And yourself?
I'm good. I can't complain too much. Just taking a day at a time. Know we lost somebody recently of a great stature, a great man named GREgory. I know you had a relationship with him as well. Can you tell us your thoughts or share your thoughts?
Well, first off, my thoughts and condolences to his wife, Miss Lillian. I think they had been married. It was almost 60 years, if I'm right.
Right.
My thoughts are with her, the children, Christian. I didn't know the children. I spoke to Mrs. GREgory once. But yeah, man, I was very surprised by his death. We all know that we're going to die one day, but when it still happens, it hurts because he was somebody, I had I could call a friend, and a mentor. I didn't get to speak to him all the time, but, whenever I spoke to him, I always looked forward to it because he always had something to say. And, his style, he cussed me out like he did to you.
Mm-hmm.
He really cursed me out too much, but, he would, if you asked a question he would tell you something about yourself. So, but, how we met, there was as you know, I was working on my book for Hurricane Katrina, and I saw him doing an interview with Kathy Hughes, who's the owner of TV One. And she was doing, I think it was she used to do these interviews on TV One if you've watched the network, where she would interview various celebrities. I think it would be TV One-on-One or something like that with Kathy Hughes. And they talked about Hurricane Katrina. And Dick was mentioning the things about the levees being blown up. He was talking about the shootout on the Dangzinger Bridge with the contractors from Blackwater that were there. And I was just listening to what he said. I was interested in how I reached out to him. I remember hearing, I guess, an interview he did in Chicago with, I can't think of the radio host, but he mentioned his manager's white man who's a friend of his for 40 years. I can't think of his full name. I know it's George something. But yeah, he was a recovering racist. I spoke with him, and he gave me Dick's number to call him, and he was interested in talking to me. And, I have spoken with Dick for, when I spoke with him, for about 10, 15 minutes the first time, and we talked about Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, and we talked about Richard Pryor and Red Fox, and various times I had hour-long conversations with him, and he would have my dad and I laughing. My dad got to speak with him as well, and I never forget. I have a special memory. I spoke with him back in 2008. For a class project I had at Southern, and he called me. It had to have been after midnight.
Wow.
It was after midnight, but I needed a project, and I had tried to reach out to him because a lot of people don't know, Brother Dick ran for president with Mark Lane before Barack Obama, before Jesse Jackson. He actually successfully, and he talked about this, he successfully ran because he actually got the popular vote. He had over 1 million votes. I can't think of the party he was with, but he was a write-in candidate. And man, those things will live with me, and I'll never forget when we met the first time. He came to Xavier. They were celebrating Obama's inauguration that Monday, and I at Xavier University, and I came down there, and that was the first time I met him face to face. And he walked up. I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, how you doing, Brother GREgory? You don't know me." He's like, "You don't remember me?" He's like, "No." And I said, "Well, we talked on the phone. It's GavIN." He's like, "Oh, yeah. How you doing?" So,
yeah, it's all right.
That sound like him, yeah. So, I, I'm really, yeah, man. But just he was basically a walking encyclopedia. He had a wealth of knowledge and information about everything that was going on in the world. And my dad was looking at his bio yesterday on Wikipedia, and he said, Gavin, you met a great man. You met somebody. If it wasn't for you, I never would have met him. And you met greatness. He, Dick Gregory knew practically any and every famous person he knew he was best friends with Dr. King and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers. He knew John F. Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy personally. He was one of the big things too, especially on the comedy side of the game. He was very underrated as a comedian. He was obviously he was very quick-witted. He even talked, I remember he wrote the foreword to Red Fox's biography talking about how great he was I'm talking about Red Fox at improvisation, because Dick never really improvised too great. He was a great writer. He had to write and plan his stuff out. But yeah, Dick, he was the first black comedian to actually be on the Tonight Show and sit down on the couch. And, a lot of people don't know that back in the day, they didn't let black folks sit on the couch and talk in front of a white audience like that. And that was the first time they saw, a black man basically hold a discussion with a white audience with a white man like Jack Parr. And, I'll never forget the joke. Jack Parr asked, "What kind of car are you trying to drive?" And he said, "A Lincoln, hopefully." Yeah, and the audience was just clapping. So and he talked about his children and stuff he goes through as a parent, which is something that even white folks go through as parents. So they saw the humanity because of him. And I'm gonna miss him. It's hard. I was very hurt when he passed. And I actually. I wish I had spoken to him. He actually came to Baton Rouge in January, and I didn't get to go to the concert that he had over here at the Bell Casino. But I did get him to see him perform. He basically put on the show at Xavier because he, I think he told the Archbishop, they said, "It's okay, I know you want to call me nigga." He said something like that. He would say, he did his innuendo stuff, and I saw him actually perform with Paul Mooney in New Orleans. They came in 2012.
Okay.
For the Essence Fest. So that was my first time seeing him in full concert with Mooney, and and after the show, he autographed his autobiography for me. And, he even autographed my book on Katrina. I gave him a free copy, not even before. So man. And I actually tried to reach out to him for Father's Day, but he didn't respond. I didn't know if he was sick then. Who knows? But, I'm deeply hurt by his passing and sad, but, God bless him and his family, and, he's going to live forever in our hearts.
Yeah, well said.
Thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it was a big loss for a lot of people. I mean, the impact he had, the fact that my issue, I thought about him, his frustrations, and when he cursed at people, it's not that he was cursing at an individual. He was basically saying, "Damn, we fucked up." Simple the fact that we don't know who he is really, because we looked at him like, if you just based on social media, you just think of him as an old grouchy man. But look at the totality of his life and the different hats he wore. He had so many lifetimes in one life.
Yeah,
and it affected so many people on different levels.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, he gave up. Like when we were talking about the comedy game, he was at the top of his career when he decided to basically give that up to fight in the civil rights movement. And I want to tell you and the rest of the listeners something very interesting. I was reading this sometime last week that Dick Gregory was the one that was responsible for finding the 3 civil rights workers that were in Mississippi. He had help from his celebrity friends like Hugh Hefner, because he actually was had gotten a job working at the Playboy Club out in Chicago, I think, as an MC. And Hugh Hefner gave him, I believe, $25,000. He really needed $50,000 because they were going to put a bounty up to find the 3 civil rights workers. I was reading this story. I can't think of the article page. I'm sorry about that, but you can Google it, I'm sure, because it's real fresh. But he was responsible for that, and how what happened is he went down there to Mississippi. I can't think of the town when this happened. Maybe you know better than me, Brother Ron. Mm-hmm. And he said he was interviewed by the sheriff when he came down there. They wanted to talk to him, and basically they were fishing, trying to figure out what he was doing here and so forth. And at one point they said, you know, we ain't afraid to kill a celebrity nigger, and he knew there that they killed these 3 civil rights workers. So he even told them afterwards when he was getting out, from what I read, he said, I'm going to get y'all for this. You're not going to get away with it, because he knew they killed them. So he put the bounty up, and they went and talked to, I believe, he talked to celebrity friends. He was able to get a reward and put up. And someone called and gave him some inside information, and basically detailing who was responsible for all of this. And he tried to take the information. No, he didn't try, excuse me. He did take the information to the FBI, but the FBI wasn't interested. You see, when you watch the movie Mississippi Burning, you know, when Mississippi Burning came out, a lot of people don't remember, but a lot of historians like Noam Chomsky, they actually challenged the movie because it wasn't historically accurate. They were saying the FBI was not there to help out black people. They were just as racist as the Klan. You know, J. Edgar Hoover, obviously, with his history, you know what that was about. You know, he, you know, and he was reluctant to do all of that. Lyndon Johnson was the one that was putting pressure on J. Edgar Hoover with all of this. So that's why they were able to, you know, finally they went ahead and they caught the people who did this, which I think the sheriff, the deputy, the mayor, they were all involved in that. But yeah, Brother Gregory, he sacrificed a lot, man. And I think he finally got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Mm-hmm. You know, I think he would have gotten it longer if he wasn't so politically outspoken. I even wanted to at one point try to get Kennedy Center to honor him with the Mark Twain Award for humor. I thought that would have been great, because I saw Richard Pryor get it the first year. I've seen George Carlin, and I've seen Bill Cosby. Eddie Murphy got it. You know, I think he was deserving of it. But I think because a lot of people didn't know who he was, they thought of him as a conspiracy, you know, just solely as the conspiracy theorist that's on real black cursing people out. Mm-hmm. You know, he didn't get that. But I think he was deserving of it. And I am grateful that he did get a star on a Walk of Fame, but I know he probably didn't even care about that, just because that was just, you know, something that was just a part of what his life was about. His life was about serving others. He didn't care. Yeah. He didn't care about awards. He wanted rewards.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Like Frankie Beverly Mays said this. He said, Christ doesn't give out the awards. He gives rewards. You know, that's why, you know, Frankie Beverly as Mays are actually more popular here in Louisiana than I think in any other state. You know, they've always been selling out the theaters here.
Yeah, Frankie Beverly is very popular among black folks, period, I think. But
yeah.
I was listening to Southern Girl the other day, and there's something about that, like, you know. But with Dick, I would say
my favorite song, just right quick, is I think either Between Back and Stride or Can't Get Over You.
I mean, nothing wrong. Can't go wrong with either one of those selections. I mean, kind of like, you know, Earth, Wind, and Fire. A lot of them guys. I mean, classic
right
stuff. And
they're like the second. I think after Earth, Wind and Fire, they're probably the second greatest R&B band, and then I would put the Gap Band right behind them.
I mean, I think a lot of people would agree with you on that. I mean, there's always room for debate, but those not bad selections by any means.
No.
But with Dick Gregory, I think is fascinating is the fact that he was the inspiration for Freedom Summer of '64, which led to them 3 civil rights workers being missing. The guy who wrote the article recently was Dave Dennis Jr. His daddy was Dave Dennis Sr. from Louisiana, who helped organize the Freedom Summer of '64, him and Bob Moses. And it was a Freedom Summer documentary that's done recently, around maybe 2013 or 2014. I saw a screening of it down in Tougaloo for the 50th anniversary of Freedom Summer. And Dick was the keynote for the Freedom Summer 50th anniversary celebration. And they said to themselves in the documentary, Dave Dennis and Bob Moses, that Dick was the inspiration for Freedom Summer 64 because of what he did in the fall of '63 in Greenwood, Mississippi, when the government, the U.S. government, cut off food stamps and other welfare support for the black citizens of Greenwood, Mississippi, who tried to register to vote. So he actually, through the help of Hugh Hefner, was able to charter a plane and load it up with several tons of food to give to the people down there in Greenwood. Right. So, I mean, that's who he was. I mean, people don't understand. He was the nutritionist for Muhammad Ali. He was the guru for John Lennon and Yoko Ono. He helped John Lennon get off of drugs. He helped Michael Jackson when he was about to die, on a 40-day water fast. This is around 2005. Yeah. And I was saying, he was, you can't make up this person. Hollywood can't make up a person like this.
Right.
He actually existed.
Another thing that he did, he was also, he was very good friends with Marvin Gaye. Yeah. And I think he was trying to get Marvin Gaye off drugs. I did see the E! True Hollywood story on Marvin Gaye. He was actually supposed to call Marvin later on, but around that time, Marvin's father shot and killed him, as you know, and he couldn't even get to him. And Dick actually eulogized Marvin. He was a close friend, even being close friends with Stevie Wonder. I remember when he talked about how the government tried to kill him. There was an article recently after his death how he exposed how J. Edgar Hoover tried to get the Chicago mob to
he talked about that for years.
On him. It was and it was declassified and it came out. And I think his bodyguard got killed in D.C. He said this in an interview with Kathy Hughes or somebody he knew, and they were trying to say Dick Gregory's been killed, and even Stevie Wonder was calling. I guess to check on him because, like I said, he knew everybody. Everybody loved him.
Oh yeah. I don't think everybody loved him, but he made his proud for enemies.
Everybody, but I think black people. Black people cared about him, loved him. People that were interested in justice loved him. Stevie Wonder is one of the. He was Stevie Wonder too. Has also been an activist for the black community. What he tried to do with Dr. King's holiday, and made that his birthday a national holiday. And I'm sure he worked with Dick Gregory on that, and so forth. He knew, and he was very supportive of even black press. He hosted a radio show with Kathy Hughes. That's why Kathy Hughes was able to interview him.
That's why she got that empire too. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why she got that empire that she got.
Yeah,
because of Dick. He used to do a radio show with her in the mornings over there when she was first getting off the ground.
Yeah. So how's Roland Martin on? Roland Martin got on TV One after what? CNN. He got fired from CNN.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made some comments about the gay folks.
The Super Bowl. Yeah, I remember that. Well, it's fascinating. But Dick did believe in black media.
Roland Martin and I got into it on Twitter. That's another story.
Oh but Dick did believe in black media. He believed in the power of media, and it's unfortunate that the state of black affairs, especially with the media, after having a so-called black president in office for 8 years, the black media barely has a pulse. I mean, because the Obama administration now invests in black media, but Dick Gregory believed in media, in particular black media.
Well, I think that's unfair. They did invest in it when they were when he was about to run for re-election. That's an election. That's about it.
They did his bill.
Yeah, they just did. They did like most politicians do. They'll come to the black press when it's time to run, and they'll play like here locally. I don't know what they do up in Tennessee where you are, but they'll play some boogeyman music when they talk about a Republican that's running.
Mm-hmm.
And is this what you want for your family?
Yeah, I do that everywhere. Yeah, I do that. That's a standard
thing. Yeah, it's a standard thing in our community. They play it on the urban shows, but very interesting. I want to tell you two things.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to Dr. Do you know Dr. Boyce Watkins is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have great respect for Dr. Watkins. I've actually talked with him before with his Black Business School. Well, Dr. Watkins was talking about how in the 90s when Bill Clinton, when they were trying to do the Nation of Islam was doing the Million Man March, they as in the Clinton administration had passed a federal law in the 90s. That created the Clear Channel system. And you hear it all throughout the national urban radio, Cumulus system, Clear Channel system, so forth. Right. Well, that really destroyed black radio and black press because what happened then is that you have you have the disc jockeys that were there. They're no longer on the show anymore. They no longer have a show anymore. They used to get the word out. That's how the Nation of Islam was able to get people the word out about the Million Man March. And when they passed that around the same time. You see, it's like what we discussed with the laws with Bill Cosby and Michael Jackson and O.J. They changed the domestic violence laws and the statutory rape laws after these men get acquitted or they're being prosecuted. They start changing them. Well, when the Million Man March comes along, Bill Clinton signs a bill that creates, the Clear Channel system and that's what Dr. Boyce Watkins was talking about. That's why on radio shows now, if you notice, you get repetitive music over and over again. I'm sick and tired of hearing rap artists rap about the same thing, and you can't even understand what the hell they're saying.
I hear you.
They all sound. They all sound the same. I got a riddle and puzzle for you.
I like Rico over there. I think that's Draco. Maybe who else? Future. Who is that? You're right. I agree with you. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, is that that's basically why black press is no longer visible anymore. And another thing too, this is off topic, but how laws change and people don't really realize it. Do you know when you were a kid, did you used to watch Saturday morning cartoons?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, same here. All right, you notice now if you ever, when you're free on a Saturday and you turn on the TV, I'm talking about on a local channel like CBS or NBC or or ABC, and you notice you don't see any cartoons anymore? Okay, well, the reason for that is Congress in 1990, they passed a federal law where they regulated that television networks have to have so many hours of educational programming. So at first they didn't do it and started in the 90s, but what they had to do later on, they started enforcing it by threatening to put all of these penalties on all of these networks, because what would happen, television is regulated by the FCC. So that's why you can't, of course there were certain things that you can't say on FCC on local television that you could say on, let's say, a cable network. HBO is privately owned, so they can say things on, since it's a cable network, that they can say stuff, in morning, day, and night that you wouldn't find on CBS, ABC, or Fox or some forth. And even on the other channels that aren't like the premier cable channels, like you watch FX or you'll watch, what's another channel? You may have AMC. You'll see things, but of course they put them by hours. But I just wanted people to be aware of that, because that's a lot of people do not know the reason why you don't see these things anymore is because laws have been changed and people are not mindful of that. I didn't even know about that till I saw the YouTube video, Ron.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody did a YouTube video on it, and I just checked it out, and I was shocked at what I saw.
Yeah, well, now, even that, with the YouTube and social media, they're trying to control that, bring that in on the regulation.
Oh, they're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
they're working on it.
I just think that it needs to be a reassessment of the so-called first black president's administration and his legacy when it comes to the treatment of black people and media and even banking and financing with the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act. There's a lot of things the Clinton administration need to be looked at again and reassessed.
Right. Well, the three strikes law. That's one of the reasons why
crime bill, 94 crime bill.
That's the reason why a lot of black people didn't want to support Hillary. Again, when she made those statements about the super predators.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I listened to Minister Farrakhan's speech on her, I don't know if you saw it, but he said, you know, if you want the first female president, I don't blame you, but he said that's a wicked woman.
Oh yeah, man. When you said that, I was thinking about what Roger Stone said, what Richard Nixon said when he first had to deal with Hillary in order to get access to Bill Clinton. And he told him, she's cold as ice. I can only imagine. It's something about her, man. It's just, it's something about her, man. It's something.
Yeah.
Even Bill Clinton is very likable. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a likable person, even though he's really got all these hangups. You could like Bill Clinton more than you like his wife, it seems.
Right, because she seems fake.
Okay, that's the word.
Yeah, she seems fake. She got that fake ass happy smile. I mean, even look at what she did when she ran against Obama for the Democratic primaries.
Talking about assassination talk. Yeah, she the one brought up that birth certificate thing, though. It wasn't Donald Trump, and the birth was with her. She started it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, question. I mean, go back to the 08 election. She was questioning his American citizenship and stuff, and she said somebody could assassinate him in June, like Bobby Kennedy.
Yeah, I remember.
She was hanging around I can never forget that.
Yeah, and Paul Mooney even made a joke about it. He said, "What the fuck was she saying?"
Right, what was it about? Right, what she put? She's a veteran of organized crime, like Donald Trump is. She's from Chicago. She was picked and trained by Saul Alinsky, who's a well-known community labor organizer, but also his mentor was Frank Nitti of the Chicago Outfit, Al Capone's gang. So he actually selected her and trained Hillary. And she ended up becoming more powerful than her mentor.
I had a great uncle. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but well, I'll say it.
Mm-hmm.
He's there. What he can do. I had a great uncle. He actually worked for Al Capone. He didn't kill anybody, but he was in the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
When he was selling his illegal beer, they called it prohibition.
Right.
Yeah. So I had a great uncle that worked in the factories. He actually met him. And by the way, Elliot Ness, from what I understand, he didn't even fight Al Capone like the movies made it out to be.
Oh, boy, they had Frank Nitti dying in Untouchable. All this stuff was bullshit.
Yeah, he never even he only met Al Capone once when Al Capone was leaving go to Miami or Florida, wherever he was. I think he was going to Alcatraz because he got sentenced there, and that's the only time he met him.
Yeah, because it was the IRS that brought down Al Capone. It wasn't on
right.
Yeah.
Right, for tax evasion. But it's still a great movie.
I mean, but that's the danger of getting your informational history from Hollywood movies. It's propaganda. They're trying to sell tickets and they're trying to make money. If your bottom line is money and not the truth, you can't be trusted when it comes to historical accuracy.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's just like if you looked at Selma.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great movie for kids who haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
The premise of it being there and the march was historic, but there were some things in there, like for instance, when they had that scene where Coretta was talking to Martin, and you saw how they were playing that tape that J. Edgar Hoover said. Yeah, how did they even know that conversation took place? That he cheated on his wife. How do we even know? Who started that rumor? How did that come about?
Well, I heard you read stuff, but you can't always trust what you read either. But she did get the tape in the mail or something. Like she don't know. I talking like the way they portrayed it in the movie. That's a different story.
Well, I mean, my thing is that they always try to slander our black leaders, and I think Oliver Stone was trying to do a MLK biopic, but he wanted to touch on Dr. King's alleged adultery. And, I don't know what Dr. King did in his private life. And let's say he did that. That's between him, his wife, and God. It doesn't erase the greatness that this man did. Because they got a lot of we got white presidents that were sleeping around. Look at John F. Kennedy.
Yeah. But then, with Kennedy, they said he had a homosexual lover living in the White House, a kid named Lemmings, who was his childhood friend. So I don't know what to make about that. He stayed in the White House with them. Jack Lemmings, I think his name was.
I haven't heard that one, but I didn't hear that one, but I do know he was fucking that secretary. Excuse my language. That secretary in Jacqueline Kennedy's bedroom.
And they say
he even kissed her, from what she said. He just was straight having sex with her, and that was it.
Well, they also said he shared a mistress with Sam Giancana, Naomi Campbell, who was a go-to between both of those guys.
Yeah, and I think Sam Giancana had something to do with his assassination. He was he wasn't the gunman, but basically they all knew JFK was going to be assassinated, and I think that he had his hired gunmen that were there because they all work with the Central Intelligence Agency. Look at the shit that has come out. Like, for instance, a lot of people don't know that Jack Ruby, the guy that shot Oswald, he was actually working at one time with Richard Nixon. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, back in 1947 was a memo, because Richard Nixon actually said, I know that guy.
Yeah, but they were trying to say Ruby had no connection. Remember, they said Ruby had no connection with the mob or with the government. Now, clearly,
Jacob Rubenstein, whatever his name is.
Jack Rubenstein. Yeah, he was Jewish, right? So, yeah, but obviously, to say he didn't have any connection to organized crime or to politics, that memo said otherwise.
Oh, it's always an inside job. 9/11 and MLK, JFK, RFK. But the thing about it is now in October coming up, they're supposed to release the assassination JFK files. They haven't released yet. In October, supposedly. Now, you had Dick Gregory. There's another thing. I'm saying, like, the greatness of Dick Gregory. He was one of the key researchers into the Kennedy assassination as well as the MLK assassination. The guy who actually started that whole thing was Mark Lane, the attorney, the brilliant attorney Mark Lane, who was also Dick Gregory's research partner. And he died.
He was the vice president candidate.
Yeah, he actually ran as vice president with Dick Gregory when he ran for president. But he was the first person to question the official Warren Commission report in the book called Rush to Judgment. And now we lost him and Dick Gregory within a year, almost a little bit over a year. Mark Lane died last year, of all places, Charlottesville, Virginia. Dick Gregory just died this year in August. But these guys were key. Dick Gregory was on Geraldo's show, Good Night America, when they revealed the Zapruder film of the assassination with Robert Groden, the guy who put together all these books about these photographs connected to the assassination. So we lost both these guys within a year.
Yeah, I actually knew if people go on YouTube, they can actually see the clip where Dick Gregory is on Geraldo's show with Bob Groden, and that's actually how Geraldo, made his, how he, I guess, broke out into stardom.
Right.
When he did that for the first time, because nobody ever saw the Zapruder film up until that point, and they had Dan Rather get on the news and tell everybody what happened in the film, and he said Kennedy's head moved forward, but you watch the film footage, Kennedy's head flies back and to the left, which shows he was shot from both the front and the back. I don't care what anybody says. Oswald didn't do that shooting. I was in D.C. I was in Dallas this last year in October, and I went to Dealey Plaza, and I actually met Bob Groton. Bob Groton actually, another interesting thing about him, he was a defendant's expert in the O.J. Simpson case in the civil trial about the Bruno Magli shoes, and he was talking about how the photos were doctored, and he basically, with the Kennedy assassination, he has been very active with that. Now, but Dick Gregory and Mark Lane, they also worked on a book called Codename Zorro, which was Martin Luther King's name by the FBI. That was his name. And, they were some interesting guys, man. And I know Mark Lane also had something to do with Jim Jones with the whole massacre with drinking Kool-Aid. He was at that town, right?
Jonestown. He had a connection to. I don't know if he was there that day, but he had a connection with the Jim Jones story. But I'm saying these are guys are very interesting people. Like I said with Dick Gregory, Hollywood could not make up a person like him. And then this person acted as this because you trying to say you read a Hollywood script and you have to say based on the life of Dick Gregory. If somebody handed you a Hollywood script, as people said, this is supposed to be a true story. This guy couldn't. Nobody could possibly do all the things this guy did. And he's a real person? Come on now. So my thing is the frustration with Dick Gregory. Go ahead.
They didn't even have an actor in Selma to portray him. He was only mentioned by name.
Now, he was one of the key players in the Selma movement. But the thing about you can't use Hollywood as your historical accuracy standard. Hollywood is about drama. It's drama. It's propaganda. Media manipulation. It's not about the truth because it's not about. If it's all about making money and not about telling the truth, then you can't really trust it as being a source of factual information. But you can have truth in a lie. But what I'm saying is we make the mistake. Dick Gregory frustration. I want to tell people this because I know what it was. To a large degree, he was traumatized, all the trauma he had to endure, dealing with system, white supremacy, racism, not only just being a black person in the system, but being an actual foot soldier for social justice. He paid a cost for that, and you dealing with our people that we refuse to read a book. We don't read no more, and we don't know who we are. So I can't even get to know who you are, old man, and about your backstory, because I don't know who the hell I am, and my own backstory, and my people's people. So we dealing with that type of culture where we dumb down so much that when I try to tell people about Dick Gregory, they say, it's like so-and-so. Oh, who is that? Who is that? Because Dick Gregory was the Jackie Robinson of stand-up comedians. He was the Jackie Robinson. But who was Jackie Robinson? I remember I read an article with baseball players, professional baseball players, and I know who Jackie Robinson was. This was an article I read several years ago. It does not surprise me, because people think this not saluting the national anthem is new. Jackie Robinson never stood for the national anthem. He never sung to the flag. He had his good reason. He was a veteran. He had a court-martial trial in Texas and won. This is almost 10 years before Rosa Parks. But we don't know about that part of Jackie Robinson. So we allow our enemies to dictate our education, our food, our clothing. This is what we get when your destiny in the hand of you let your enemies control your whole damn life narrative. This is what Dick was frustrated about. Why are you letting these people control you when I've been doing all this for the past 50-something years and we still ain't going nowhere? And we worse off now than we was 50-something years ago.
Yeah. Well, you said a lot. I wouldn't I would say this. Dick Gregory was not I wouldn't say call him the Jackie Robinson of comedy. He was the Joe Louis of comedy. And if you know Joe Louis, a lot of people credit Jackie with breaking the color barrier for sports, but it was actually Joe Louis that did that, because when he fought that German, Max Mellon.
Yeah.
Right. Max Mellon was, even though Max Mellon wasn't a Nazi in real life, but he represented the Aryanism, whereas Joe Louis represented American democracy. And it was Smellon's German Nazism versus Joe Louis's American democracy. And the muscles of Joe Louis knocked out the Nazism in Germany to the point where even Adolf Hitler, when he was listening to the fight, he turned it off. He had to turn it off because he couldn't hear it anymore. And what's interesting about Yeah, but that's what interesting about Dick. You know, he basically had to perform in places that were segregated, where we couldn't even sit in the clubs except if we were waiting tables. And he was actually out there standing flat foot in front of a white audience making Ku Klux Klan jokes.
Mm-hmm.
you know, I still laugh at the line when he talked about the three cousins, the Ku Klux Klan, that came up to him and said, "Boy, whatever you do with that chicken, we're going to do to you." So I grabbed that chicken and I hurried up and kissed it and I said, "Lined up, boys."
Oh, yeah, that was a good joke, man. But yeah, I can see what your point. But Joe Louis was destroyed by American Nazism. They destroyed him for being a good patriot.
Yeah,
they destroyed him.
That's just my opinion on it. But yeah, I know what you mean by Jackie, because Jackie is, Jackie Robinson he's remembered as being, breaking the color barrier in baseball, and baseball was I think was America's pastime.
No, lynching was America's pastime. To be honest with you.
Okay, yeah.
They can say all that bullshit they want. Yeah, that was a real sport. That was a blood sport in so many words.
Yeah, just like we say Arsenio Hall was the Jackie Robinson of late night. Michael Jackson was the Jackie Robinson of MTV.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's fascinating, but why do we need first? They let you know that we live in a very racist white supremacist system. When we still got to look at the first black this or the first black that. It's kind of like, why do we need those type of measuring sticks? And what's really wrong with black people that we feel the need to be validated by these people?
Right. We don't need. The thing is that we have a self-esteem issue.
Mm-hmm.
We don't believe in ourselves until we're either working for them or we get paid by them. And that's actually one of the reasons why I respect Dr. Boyce Watkins. He was working at Syracuse at one time and was dealing with racism there till he decided he was going to go in business for himself. And he invested in himself, and he used the internet basically to build up his platform, just like you see with Tariq Nasheed doing with his work. And by the way, I don't know if you've listened, but Tariq Nasheed doesn't like Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson, well, this is his opinion. I mean,
yeah.
Do we really know who Jackie Robinson? My thing is this, like this, I got ready to go. I mean, we have a good time. The time always flying when we talking. But the thing about even Andrew Young, Cass has said he need to go somewhere and shut up. He has a right to his opinion, but do you know what he has done? Do you know the legacy of Andrew Young? See, that's a different story. Does Tariq Nasheed know the legacy, the true legacy of Jackie Robinson? Tariq is just one person. It's like, I don't agree with everything he says. I respect him.
Yeah.
I'm appreciative of his hidden colors, things. He woke up a lot of folks. But people got to learn how to think for themselves. It's like when I have a problem when people call Dick Gregory, Richard Claxton Gregory, a disinfo agent. Number one, my problem is this. The brother has been listed in the phone book for almost 60 years in the white pages. His living addresses, his home number, his cell phone number has been listed. But the folks who criticize him and question his credibility and love for the people, they don't even show their face on their videos. They distort their voices. You can't even get in touch with them, really.
Well, those are internet trolls, yeah.
Right, but I'm saying, but people will believe them over a guy who's been vulnerable, who's been exposed, who's been accessible.
Right.
That's the problem.
Well, look, I mean, I agree with you. Dick is not no disinfo agent. As many times as those people tried to kill him.
Right. They had a tree that fell on his. You know that tree fell on his car? Yeah,
I remember that. That's what happened. That's what I was telling you about when Stevie Wonder called Kathy Hughes to figure out. I heard he died.
Right.
Because I think it was his bodyguard or somebody
got killed.
Right, that got killed. But as far as the Andy Young thing, though, I was listening to it and I wasn't pleased by what Andy said, and I respect what he did, and he's entitled to his opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody else is too, and
exactly.
Even Dick Gregory called out Andy Young now.
Oh yeah, I mean he told me some things about Andy, but it'll come out eventually.
Yeah, because Andy Young was on CNN, and he said Dr. King wouldn't have minded if there were any spies, there. Martin got killed because of spies.
Yeah, they had a big one in the FCLC. One of their treasurers, Jimmy Harrison, was a FBI paid informant.
Yeah, I've heard about. Well, he wasn't an FBI informant, but Billy Kyles was a police informant.
Oh, all that will come out. But, we already had a court trial, right, in Memphis, a civil court trial back on December 8th, 1999, that found the government complicit in the assassination of Dr. King. Billy Kyles was cross-examined during that time, and he failed miserably. But he's still a hero here in Memphis. They got a picture of his face in a mural near the museum. And so I just, it's like the Twilight Zone. I can't, it's like don't anybody read? What's the point of all this stuff if nobody don't take the time to think for themselves, do their own research? I talked to Dr. William Pepper on Friday, and I talked to another guy yesterday who was James Earl Ray's, one of his attorneys, right in front of the place where they crucified Dr. King yesterday at the museum. So I think this is the spirit of Dick Gregory leading me to these people, but I just think it's sad that we're approaching the 50th anniversary, and I hear people all the time say we don't know who killed Dr. King. Yes, we do. We know exactly who killed Dr. King.
It was the United States government.
Exactly.
Yeah. When I say government, that includes CIA, FBI, Army. Yep. They all had a role.
They had a role to play.
Maybe not every person in that in those branches. I don't believe that, but I do believe that the top enchiladas in those groups, the top dogs, basically, they were all involved with that.
Well, I tell you,
same thing with the Kennedy assassination.
Of course.
Do you know that even to this day, John F. Kennedy's brain is still missing?
Well, Dick said he lived for 10 more years, so they might explain it. And he said he died on the island of Onassis, Aristotle Onassis Island. Dick he said on my show, he said on a couple of shows several times. So it's interesting, the timing of his death, like the files are about to come out. They might come out, depending on Donald Trump or whatever.
Well, even if they come out, who's going to read them?
That's the problem. This whole thing, the information come out.
Even Allen Dulles said, I think one time when they let the Warren Commission report out, they had so many inaccuracies and misinfo in the Warren report. I think Allen Dulles was the one that said, well, it doesn't matter. American people won't read this.
But you know who Allen Dulles, you know what Kennedy did to Allen Dulles?
Yeah, he fired him.
So why are your enemies allowed to do a report on who killed you? They, who shot you?
Right.
It's like the big, who shot you? You teasing me? You trying to, what are you doing? You know who shot me. You make a song about it or make a report about it?
Yeah, well, I'll go further than that. The mayor of Dallas, Texas, at the time was Charles, I believe his name was Charles Cabell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. His brother was a lieutenant in the armed forces. His name was Earl Cabell. He was with the Joint Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'd be a lieutenant. I'm sorry. He probably was
a general.
I think.
A colonel or something.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He was a colonel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Kennedy fired him along with Allen Dulles and Ed. I can't think of another gentleman's name, but it was three. Those three individuals were fired. Dulles, Cabell, and I think is it Lancaster? I'm not sure, but
people go research it. They so big about it. They can research it.
He fired. Well, to get to my point, the parade route in Dallas was changed because if you've been to Dallas and where that area where Kennedy is shot, there are three main highway streets that you can go through. You can go straight down Main Street and you go straight down Elm, and there's another street on the opposite side, very far left. It's like a triangle. And Kennedy's motorcade did not have to take that turn on Elm Street. It could have just stayed going down Main Street, and it would have gotten to the triple overpass, and he could have gotten to the trademark. But they turned that car where, if you noticed in the Zapruder film, there was no Secret Service agent in that area.
Mm-hmm.
That was the key. The car slowed down. The shots were ringing out. You saw people getting down on the ground. One gentleman who's still alive, he was with his young wife and his two kids, and they hit the ground, and he saw the shot from the front. He said he saw it hit Kennedy right in the temple. Because when a bullet, and I know a little something about bullets, and I don't know if you callers do, but I'm gonna just tell them, when you deal with ballistics, anytime a bullet enters a body, it tumbles. And basically, it comes out. You've heard of entry wounds. You've also heard of exit wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And the exit wound is always going to be bigger than the entry wound. The doctors at Parkland all said that there was a small hole in the right temple, and Kennedy's head was blown out the back. There's a big hole about the size of a fist in the occipital prolateral area of the head, which would be the back right. If you grab your put your hand in a claw portion and you put it in the back of your head, that's how much Kennedy's head was missing. They even found the skull was even located in the grass on the opposite side. There were pictures of bullet holes in the grass. So there's no way 3 shots could have done that. And even the FBI came out, I think, 10 years ago and said the ballistics show at least 2 gunmen could have done this.
Now, people can research some of this. Thank God for the internet. People need to do their own research. Take a look. It's all online. People need to learn how to do for self when it comes to researching and educating themselves, because you can't depend on a talking head that's charismatic to do all the work for you. That's very dangerous, to be honest with you. But, Brother GavIN, what's the best way for people to contact you or, whatever, support?
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at my name is at GavMRich2786. You can follow me up on Twitter. You could also have a Instagram page. It's gboot2786. Oh wait, hold on. Let me make sure I get the right one, because I got 2 different accounts. Let me see. It's not the same as my Twitter, but yeah. Let's see. GRich2786. Excuse me. Yeah, GBoot2786 is my one of my YouTube pages. But I always appreciate talking to you, Brother Ron.
I mean, I enjoy it, man. I was gonna be like 30 minutes, almost an hour, but it's like when you meet like-minded travelers on a journey, it's good to be traveling in good company. So we'll have some more, but I just wanted to make sure I reach out to you about Brother Dick, because I know, like you said, you have a relationship with him, and it always amazes me that he knew so many people. He had these relationships with people. And that let me know he was a true humanitarian, that he was a holy man, that he was a spiritual being, that he was a gift to humanity. And he is, it should be inspiring for other people to find their own way to be themselves, to honor who they are, and to believe in something greater than themselves.
Yeah, and one thing I will say that really touched me when I did the interview with him is when I was speaking with him for 2 hours, and to interview him for my book, he didn't ask for any money or anything like that. He said just he wanted the truth to come out. And that's what he would always say, pray that the truth comes out. And he even told me told my father how he felt I could be this light for the world, which I was very touched. I was flattered by that, man. I didn't expect that, So for somebody like that to say that to me that was the world. After the interview, after the interview, I told my dad, "Wow, I just talked to Dick Gregory."
That's excellent, man. So were you able to take a picture with him at all, or take a photo?
I had taken some pictures with him. I just have to find them, somewhere on my old computer that even crashed. But hopefully I can save them. But I have. I got autographs from him, but I have to find my pictures. I know I took some because I know you took plenty. You did videos with him.
Oh yeah, it was an interesting experience, man. I keep on thinking I never thought I ever would meet Dick Gregory, let alone play a part in his legacy at all.
Yeah, and I mean, Brother Ron, you've met Dick Gregory. You even met somebody like Judge Joe Brown.
Oh yeah, Judge is very unique.
There's a TV judge that most people recognize at the drop of a hat, and he took the time to even talk with you.
Yeah, I got a couple of new Judge Joe Brown stuff coming out soon. But also, you played a role in the King assassination story too. He was an unsung hero in that too, as well.
Yes, he was. I talk to him every now and then too, and he was there at the trial in 1999. He testified there, I believe. and he was also involved, with James Earl Ray's appeal.
Mm-hmm.
So he was, he basically has he's been on the front lines. He's been around for a while.
So you are the company that you keep. You hang around with certain folks, they mirrors to you. We all reflections of each other, so it's good to be around the company.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate this, man. It's been real good.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate you, man. It's good to connect. In times of mourning, you need time to heal as well, too. So this is a very therapeutic session, I believe. And the folks that will receive this will also definitely agree with. So I appreciate you so much. In the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing.
All right. Peace. Thank you, Brother Ron.
Yes, sir. Thank you.